JavaScript hoisting and is a default behavior of moving declaration to the top, right? As we saw in this example earlier, where we were first calling the variable and then we defining it a little late. The same could happen with your function or other components in the JavaScript file. In JavaScript, a variable can be declared after it has been used. In other words, a variable can be used before it has been declared. So to talk about it, this is your listing, and this is what we talked earlier as well, right? This is where we are first defining it, not declaring it here, assigning the variable, and then utilizing it in the random order. If we run it, we see that x value is 5. So the behavior is same, right? Since it's interpreted language, at the time of browser is loading this, it will just check whether all the different things are available, and if they are, there will be no error, right? So even if we remove this, we run this, right? So even not here, because this is not a good tool to show all these things. Let's do it here. Right? Okay, we need to cover debugging as well. I thought this is the last thing that we need to talk about. So the idea of hosting is JavaScript default behavior of moving all declaration to the top of the current page. That is by default it is doing, irrespective whether user is doing or not, right? So it takes all the declaration at the top, and then while interpreting it, it is looking at the field is declared and then using it. We talked about let and const, so I'm not going into this. JavaScript initializations are not hoisted. So this is one example. Let me take you to this window, save it. What we say that x is 5, x is 7, get element demo, and then printing it. So 5 and 7. What it says, example 1 in okay, this is fine. Let's show me another example. This is more relevant. So if we look at these two examples, what it says in the example 1, where we are assigning this and then declaring it. So what it says in JavaScript, a variable can be declared after it has been used. Not this one. Yeah, JavaScript only hosts declaration, not initializations. So we are saying that this is initialized by x, and this is initializing y with value 5 and 7. Example 1 does not give the same result as example 2, because in here, if you look at the bottom, so this is not hoisting. This is like, you will see that this is undefined, but variable 1 is definitely able to see the like if the variable y is defined or not. So definition is definitely being picked here. So that is the main difference between hoisting. But for best practices perspective, I would suggest you guys always follow this initialization and declaration at the top. It's easier, it will save you from unknown errors, and that's where debugging is important. That is the next point that I want to talk about. So how to debug, but before that, let me quickly talk about arrow function.